just find out tonight on the Weird Show. Alien abductions, strange lights in the south of France. Vulcans and Kardashians all join in the cosmic dance. My karma ran over your dogma on the way to the studio. E.T. phone home tonight on the Weird Show. The Weird Show. The Weird Show. E.T. phone home tonight on the Weird Show. The Weird Show. The Weird Show.
E.T. phone home tonight on the Weird Show. All right, welcome to the Weird Show. We just ran everybody off there that was here, but it is indeed weird. It's Weird Wednesdays. I'm Russell Dowden, your host of the Weird Show and publisher of Weird Magazine, your host through this fast-moving guide of an unexpected journey of total weirdness that we call the Weird Show. So welcome to the program, James. My co-host, Coach James Bills, is here, running late, sweating like a sweaty dog. How you doing, Coach Bills?
I am super excited tonight.
Well, baseball season's getting back in, right?
Yes, that's one of the number one reasons I'm so excited. We started practicing and, starting to get the boys together, get some workouts going. Mm-hmm. Governor kind of released us after this COVID-19 stuff, and we're still limited on different things that we can do. But I broke a sweat, and that's been unusual here lately.
Well, that's a good thing. It's been hard for a lot of us to break a sweat unless we're working out at home. But yeah, glad that you're back to baseball. I've been working on a new publication on hemp, and we'll talk about that a little later. It's a Texas Hemp Reporter is a new publication that I'm putting out here in the 1st of June. But yeah, we are doing a weird show. You weren't here Sunday. I had Timothy Green Beckley on from New York City. Tim was on, let's see, we were just going over, all things paranormal, talked about the Men in Black a little bit, talked about, Ghost, all of his publishing career. This guy's published like 500-600 books. If you haven't seen last Sunday's show, it was just Timothy Green Beckley and I on, and that one's archived on the YouTube channel, and that's youtube.com/Weird Magazine, or on the Weird Show platform. I'm streaming out on the Rockstar channel, the Russell channel, and the Weird Magazine channel, and then we're out right now also going live on YouTube and then the Weird Magazine Twitter page. So we've got 5 functioning streams tonight. But we'll see if anybody wants to comment or say a chat, throw a shout out at us in the chat, and you can put up with us for a little while if you'd like. Tonight on the program, we're going to talk a little bit about ghosts. James has some Deja Vu experiences he wants to talk about. I have some hemp news, and we're going to talk some paranormal, and then maybe if we've got enough time, I might throw a Russell flashback to my younger years on yet another show that I was a part of called The Way Out There. And that was with American Ingenuity Productions in Deep Baltimore. And that show was called The Way Out There. They were trying to pitch that to Sci-Fi Channel back in the day. It was a very long time ago. And they had called it The Tonight Show of the Paranormal, Way Out There. And so we'll see if we'll get more Way Out There for the upcoming show here. But let's talk. Tell us about this Deja Vu stuff you're talking about. What did you have on your mind that you wanted to discuss?
It's funny because we've had so many different shows we've been working on and trying to get into a pattern of getting this thing right. And you've been working your tail off to get this coordinated where it can be successful and sound well, and get the right products per se, or the right equipment in here to get this thing right. And so it's been kind of one thing after others, us just getting it together. And the last show we did was, really good show. We had good feedback. A lot of people was really interested in the show, and and we're just going to get better. But it's been interesting because I'm a paranormal guy. Myself.
I'm not paranormal at all.
No, not at all. But I'm not I'm not the big UFO guy. I like the Bigfoot stories. I like the Nessie stories and that type of stuff. But I'm a really big ghost guy. I like that type of stuff. And I've for a long time. So I went a long time without having dreams. Mm-hmm. And then I started getting into these dreams pretty heavy. And when I was young, I used to have some really out there type dreams, and I used to
like out of body experience stuff.
Yeah, out of body experiences. A lot of out of body experience. One of the things I used to have was I used to have this dream when I used to sleep with my door open back when I was in junior high. Mm-hmm. I always dreamed about a bright light coming to the corner of my door, and I would look at it, and it would shoot at me and freeze my body. Mm-hmm. And I would have this dream all the time, and to counter it, after about a month, mm-hmm. I start sleeping with my door closed. And so for years I slept with my door closed. How old were
you though when you did?
12, 13 years old.
All right. That's probably pretty normal, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty normal. It come from anything from watching, scary movie or any type of things like that. And I got out of that, kind of got out of those dreams. And when I was in high school, I had a dream one time, which is probably one of the craziest dreams I ever had because of what was going on. There was, I was like 17 years old, and we lived on a farm, and my brother was always one of my younger brothers was always one of the that was supposed to lock the chickens up every night.
Lock the chickens up,
and guineas, and we had guineas, and anyways, at like 5 a.m, I woke up. I was having a bad dream. I was having a dream that there was a werewolf, okay, chasing me across the pasture, chased me through our back door, busted through our back door, chased me down my hallway and in my room. I slammed the door, and he busted the door open, and I woke up. So I got up, went to the restroom. In real life now, I'm awake at that point.
I hate it when you go to the restroom and you're not awake.
Yeah, that's always a warm feeling.
It's pretty warm. Yeah,
it's pretty warm. And so I go back to the bed, and I lay down and go to sleep. It's about 5:30 in the morning, and go to sleep. And a few minutes later, an hour later, I hear my mom hollering at my brother. I told you should have locked the chickens up last night. You forgot to lock the chickens up. So I'm wondering why she's screaming at them. So I get up and go in there, and from the chicken coop all the way up to my back window was several different piles of feathers and dead chickens.
Dead chickens.
So I'm going to assume still to this day that while the coyotes were eating my chickens, I heard them in my sleep and dreamt about the werewolf, while these coyotes were eating chickens outside my door.
How weird.
Yes. Yes. And a lot of
people, you're dreaming, maybe you're hearing this stuff,
So subconsciously, I probably was actually hearing this stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And this stuff was going on in the background. And when I woke up, when I turned the light on, it probably actually ran the coyotes off. But I hear them out there probably growling, and that's probably where it came from. So that was a weird thing, back in the days. And so now here's my deja vu.
Okay, we're going deja vu now.
Here I am with a ranch.
You're not on the baseball field. You're on the ranch.
I'm on the ranch.
All right.
43 years old. And, I had some crazy dreams for years. I had some demonic type dreams for a while. I still believe that most of those happened right before I had my heart attack. And I still think that was me going into a deep state of sleep and snoring and not breathing very well, and I probably was dropping off into that other realm of, in and out of consciousness. The DMT was probably taking over,
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so 2 nights ago, we got chickens now, by the way.
More chickens.
Now I have chickens on my ranch.
More chickens.
And in the middle of sleeping, I see the same dream that I had when I was like 12 or 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But it's at my house now, where I live now. And the deja vu was the craziest thing, because before I woke up, I felt like I was 12 or 13 years old and could see myself laying there at 12 or 13 years old in my bed back home when I was a kid. And when I woke up, I literally looked up and saw the door to my bedroom when I was a kid, and kind of blinked my eyes and realized I was in my room now.
Oh, weird.
Very weird.
So were you having deja vu as an older man of yourself as a young person?
Yes, correct.
As a child?
Correct.
You know, I had a very interesting story that was from an abductee person that I had done some interviews with back in the early 2000s and around the 1990s. And he said that he had been always being abducted by aliens for many years, off and on, but he had this weird time travel twist to his alien abduction story, James. And the twist was that he said that he went he remembers a man coming when he was a child in South Texas, in a small community between San Antonio and the Rio Grande Valley. And he said that he remembered an older man coming to him when he was a very young boy, telling him, hey, you're going to be involved in ufology later. There's going to be people coming to you. You're going to be speaking on television shows and programs about things that might seem scary right now, but I want you to know that you're going to be okay when you get older. And I want you to not be afraid of all of this and just kind of take in the information. The older man came to the door and knocked on the door as he was a child, and answered the door. And the older man asked for some water, and he went and got some water and talked to the older gentleman about this stuff. And later on, it ended up being that he realized as he became older that it was him going back. He was permitted by the ETs through the abduction experience to go back in time and see himself, to give himself a foreknowledge of the pattern of the things in his life that would happen to him. And he was given this opportunity to go speak to the very young version of himself. And when he realized, when he was older and he was given that opportunity in his late 30s to go see the young little boy in 1970, whatever, that he asked for the glass of water, and he started to tell the younger kid about the experiences that he was going to have. And so this was an abductee individual that was on the old Set Lab radio shows in the Rio Grande Valley. He Set Lab Studies of Extraterrestrial Life and Answers from Beyond. It was the old radio programs that we were doing in 99 and 2000. And anyway, just speaking to your deja vu experience, that was a very interesting story, that he, as a former abductee, he was permitted by the aliens to go back, is his claim, to go back and give himself foreknowledge of all the many experiences that he would be having later in life as he grew up. And so little extra twist on the tequila with the lime on the deja vu.
Got a worm
with that one. That's the worm with it,
got
right?
a worm in there. So let me ask you, how many times in your life have you felt like all of a sudden someone was standing behind you and no one was standing there?
Yeah. I mean, that happened a lot, especially when I was on acid.
So here's the thing about me is I've never done anything like that. I've never, never done it. No, I never have. Never have.
News break.
July 8th, 1947.
James needs to try acid. All right.
I do good with drinking.
You would have been doing good with it. That was something you should experience 25 years ago.
The DMT, and so it's funny because I'm one of those guys that I feel like I'm extra sensitive. My son's like that. My son is very extra sensitive. There's things that we can see, but I didn't for a long time. I didn't acknowledge how to use it. I didn't acknowledge how how to control it, and I let it be more fear than anything else. And the truth is that it's still to this day, you still a lot of the unknowns out there, worry you. But to be honest with you, until I lived at my house that I lived at in Round Rock, I never had those experiences.
Yeah, you had a weird house that you had in Round Rock, or was that here in Central Texas, or was that in East Texas?
I'll disclose the location, but not the address. It was in Tonkawa Springs in Round Rock, over off of 3406, off of Sam Bass area. And up till then, I always had the unexplainable weird things that happen. But
like what? Well, like what would happen over there?
Well, that place up to that point, I never had anything that I couldn't explain. I always was one of those guys that said, this happened because of this. The wind changed. The house was settling. The door popped open because it's a new house and the house is settling and those type of things. Well, this house was built in 1979. It was a house that was built out of limestone. That particular neighborhood, every house there is built out of the same stone. There's a quarry. It's quarries that go down through there that they actually built out of. And the original pump house in that whole area was on our property. We was on 2.5 acres with a 3,700 square foot home that's there. And the original quarries that are in there now are small lakes full of fish. We'd go out, walk out our back door, and literally we had a pond in our backyard. When we first moved there, my son was young, my daughter was young. They were like 7 and 4, 8 and 5. And they were experiencing weird things. We had a door that led to the garage that would pop open all the time. And you could lock that thing and you could make sure that thing was as closed as it could possibly be. And 20 minutes later, it would just pop open. And I always explain it off as unsettling in the house. Keep in mind, it's a 1979 home. It should be already settled, correct? But, you were thinking the house is rocking, it's creaking, it's making moving noise. It's settling in. The house is settling in. Yeah. We're good. It's going to be all right. And the lights would go off and on every once in a while. And it's an old home, so, it could be electrical issues, things of that nature. Beautiful home. It was a really nice home. And my son, so there's 2 bedrooms. There's actually 4 bedrooms upstairs and 2 bathrooms. And my son would wake up screaming in the middle of the night that there was a little boy running around in the house, and that the little boy was harassing him.
Who's the little boy?
We don't know, but my daughter. So my son was always been very extra sensitive. When he was young, he talked about Santa Claus being outside his window. He one time fell down in his room and said a really ugly old lady threw him on the ground. He told us one time when we was at Walmart, he told my wife that the lady beside him told my wife her name, and the lady said, "Wait a minute, what?" And my wife said, "Well, he said your name is so and so. I'm sorry, he's young and he's just being silly." And she said, "No, that's really my name." And my wife asked him, "Well, how did you know that?" And my son said, "Well, the little boy right there told me." Well, there was no little boy there.
There's no little boy.
There's no little boy. So supposedly at this house, he was seeing this little boy. Well, a little time went by, and my wife says to me, she calls me and says, "Hey, Chelsea," which is my daughter, came downstairs and said she was playing with someone. And he said, "Who?" She said, "Well, who is it?" And she said her name's Alicia. And she said, okay. She said, well, I want to get some water and take upstairs to Alicia for me and Alicia. And she said, well, can I go up there? Can I bring the water up there? And she said, no. She said, Alicia don't want anybody to see her because she's got a burn on her forehead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I recognize this stuff.
Yeah. So this goes on now. My daughter and my son are seeing little kids in the house.
But my kids did too.
And I still was writing it off, imagination.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have anything going on. I didn't have experiences. My wife didn't have experiences.
Mm-hmm.
About a year and a half of living there, my wife calls me one night and says, hey, I haven't seen anything. You know that. And I said, yeah. And she said, well, I need you to come home.
Oh, boy. Uh-oh.
She said, tonight, I saw a little girl come out of the bathroom and look at me and go back in the bathroom.
Ooh.
So now things are getting real. Right?
So now the wife's seeing things that are weird.
Now the wife is seeing
okay.
things. At that point, I'm not a ghost enthusiast. I don't read into it real deep and those type of things. Right before that, I left this big story out. Quick story. One of my wife's friends, she was into that type of stuff. And she wanted to come over and bless the house.
Okay.
And I told my wife, don't you bring anybody over to our house. It's going to be throwing holy water and sage and all that.
Because we can't have holy water.
I don't want that stuff in my house. Nothing against religion. I personally felt like they were going to open that Pandora's box.
I'd rather have I'll take anything.
I'm one of those guys that's just like, you guys shut up and leave me alone. I ain't seen it yet.
Give me the egg. I'll do ojo. Give me the holy water. I don't care. Cross, crucifix, anything you want to bring in here. I'm open to it all.
Well, the only reason why I said go ahead and do it was because I felt like if it made my son and my daughter feel more comfortable, that it would be better.
Okay, there you go.
So I was good with it. So then the day comes where the first experience happens for me.
So you're the last one to you're the Freeling family, your dad in the Freeling family. That's the last one to see anything in the poltergeists.
But I'm the one that keeps blowing it off.
Uh-huh.
I'm the one that says this is the reason why that happened.
The Freelings.
Late one night, I experienced something walk across the hallway in the middle of the night, and there's a light on down the hall, and I see this thing go across, but there's nothing there. So. And this was after waking up 4 mornings in a row at 3:30 in the morning out of the clear blue.
Okay.
Which at the time I didn't know all the stories, what 3:30 is, the witching hour. I didn't know all that stuff. And
I call it beer drinking hour as well.
3:30, middle of the day or in the mornings, beer drinking hour. So I decided I'm gonna sleep on my door closed. Okay. Remember, I told you when I was a kid, I would see that white light. I start sleeping with my door closed, and I stop having those thoughts. All right. So I decided I'm going to do that. And then what happens is one night my wife wakes up and she's got something over her head, a demon type figure that's pinned her down, and she can't get up. All right. So she's kind of freaked out over that. And then another night, my kids are out of town. It's just me and her there. And something walks up the stairs behind our bedroom. We can hear it coming up. We both wake up. I jump up with a gun. And, there's nothing there. So everything at that point's good, right, bro? I'm like, okay, well, we're going to start talking about what we're going to do next. We're almost 3 years to living at this house. Everybody's had experiences. Friends are coming over. They experience stuff. Family comes over. They experience stuff. And then the big one happens.
What's the big one, James?
I go home one night, 9:30 at night. My wife and kids are up at CVS by the Rudy's there in Round Rock. And as I'm walking up to the door, I have 2 phones. One phone is a Cricket phone. One's my T-Mobile phone. I walk in, set my Cricket phone on the table with my keys. I walk back out the door. I'm on the phone, the T-Mobile phone, talking to my wife at CVS. I get a call in on my phone. I look down. It says, "You have missed one phone call from James Bills," which is my other phone.
Mm-hmm.
Then it says I have a voicemail from my other phone, which is on the table in the dining room. So I listen to the voicemail. It's white noise, which at the time I didn't know what white noise was.
Mm-hmm.
It's white noise for multiple seconds. And then something says, "Hey, James."
On your voicemail?
On my voicemail. And we kept that voicemail for a long time. We had let everybody hear it. What I can tell you is we moved out of that house the next day.
The Freelings got the TV and put it on the front porch of the Holiday Inn and got the hell out of town.
We got out of town. Exactly. And there are a lot of people that move in there now, they've moved out. But so I say that whole story changed everything. It opened a lot of stuff for me, and I did a lot of research. And so that's why I'm into the weird, to the paranormal stuff now, because I learned about the witching hour. I learned about pipes. My son was scared of taking a shower upstairs because he was worried about the pipes coming out of the ground. And energy travels through pipes, and the stone, your stone walls, your that quarry, those rocks, anything that's limestone actually carries energy. So if you have limestone homes, a lot of energy comes out of the ground and actually carries through limestone.
But y'all got the hell out of that house.
We got out of the house. And I've never owned another home that was limestone after that either.
There you have it. The poltergeist version of the Weird Show. Our co-host James Bills telling us about his poltergeist, not even more of deja vu, ghostly. And now, and I'll touch on this a little. When my kids were young, James, and they were 4, Jeremy was 4 or 5. He had a little friend named David. And my ex-wife at the time, when I would hear this, she would talk to Jeremy about David. And David was his little friend. And so, I think that the paranormal is opened up to kids when they're young. And, when you're a youth, when you're, before your mind molds into the 3-dimensional world, you end up, you're open to these types of things, and you're able to be susceptible to the alternative reality that is there when you're a very young person. Your mind has not been thwarted by all of these things, and so I believe that's why the younger generation gets to have these paranormal experiences. And I mean, maybe some listeners out there have had a paranormal experience. If you have a chat, feel free to chat or comment on your paranormal experience. But I know that when my kids were little, they had a special friend. They had things they saw and would tell mommy or daddy about it. It was a very common thing for that kind of thing to happen. And so when you mentioned that when your kids were young, that was also, something kind of that was very similar experience as well. And I think that happens more than people really let on. Sometimes. It
does, but I think we grow out of it. I think what happens is once we grow out of it, a lot of us never go back into it, and we don't realize that realm is actually more open than what most older people think. We do a lot of traveling. We do. My wife and I go to a lot of places. We actually travel a lot of graveyards. We travel a lot of historical markers. We go to a lot of closed down buildings and go take pictures at night to see what kind of reflections and things that we can get, if we can pick up any kind of paranormal pictures or anything like that. We travel all over. We don't travel just all over the area. We literally travel all over the United States. We have a list of different things that we go to. That the other night you and I talked about when you was in school. There was books that you could look up about Loch Ness Monster and things like that. There also was a lot of paranormal books back then that you could find interesting things on. Not as many, but there's videos on YouTube, and you got a lot of things that are pulled up right now that you can show. A lot of these videos on YouTube, they're hard to follow for the simple fact you don't know if they're made up. It's so easy now to go on there and fake anything that you want to.
Yeah. Well, with all the different things going on, it is easy to to fake things, and you see a lot of that, and then when there's something that's real, you people don't often think that they think it's fake. So
right,
you really have to be aware of that. Gonna jump over here onto the weirdshow.tv website. Check out some of the news articles on here, guys. We updated a few things here. I did have an interesting story that was related to last week. Tim Schwartz's book, which is published by Tim Beckley, who was on last week. There's a new book that's out called The Big Book of Incredible Alien Encounters, a global guide to space aliens, interdimensional beings, and ultra-terrestrials, which our children used to play with, evidently, some sort of alternative thing there. This is on Amazon. You can check this out. It's Tim Schwartz's new book published by Tim Beckley. We had Tim on last week. I just wanted to plug the book. And then watch out, Space Brothers warn we will not be allowed to set foot on the moon. That's nothing. That should be nothing new, but it is a new article that Tim and I talked about Sunday on the show. Did you tune into that? You were tired that day.
No,
did you check out some of it?
I did some. My phone died. I was working on a wrench, but I caught quite a bit of it.
Okay, cool. I was wondering if you missed the Sunday one. So just shouting out to kind of recap, if anybody wants to see last Sunday show, just jump over to the youtube.com/weird magazine. You can check out the broadcast from last week. What else is on your mind? We want to eventually, I want to talk about some of this hemp news that I'm working on. Anything on that front? I just kind of giving people an update on the hemp reporter, which, farmers can grow hemp now. And, so one of the things that I've been working on is a publisher is a new publication that will just talk about hemp in Texas. So I just thought I would plug that briefly because we are working on some new news. I don't know if not everybody knows, but Texas, as of May 1st, can grow hemp in the ground. And this is not the stuff that gets you all high and goofy and loopy and all that. This is regular hemp. You can use it for medicine. You can make paper. There's a lot of different things you can do with hemp these days. But farmers are now able to grow hemp in Texas the last few weeks. And I don't know if everybody knows that, but we're working on a new publication, James, that's just going to be a little on the hemp side of things. I think it's a good thing. There's an article I'm working on here, the sports athletes going green. A lot of athletes are getting into business of hemp, especially former athletes like Gronkowski endorsing CBD medicine. So that's some interesting stuff. So this is something we'll be doing. You'll be able to see pick this up around town coming up. And I wanted to just kind of share that briefly and plug that. But I've been busy working on this stuff, and it's been interesting and pretty cool.
Some of the stuff we've been in the backwards on, we can't really discuss yet on this type of stuff as well. But when it does launch, y'all definitely will want to be part of this magazine. It's gonna be very valuable to if either you're a farmer, a grower, or if you're a seller, or a lot of you guys that are out there that are going to pick up this magazine. You're going to be trying to find out information on grow lights and planting and anything from how you're going to put your crops in the ground with tractors. I mean, everything, even some of some of these suppliers that are out there will be in this magazine, and so it's real important to follow along with the growth of this. There's multiple companies out there across the United States that you can find to buy this type of stuff through. But what you don't find is a hub. It's hard to find a hub, to find the best product, to find the best people that you're going to go through, and that co-op type of situation where you can find out how to save money to get the best product and turn around and make the most profit off of it.
And as a magazine publisher, I've published 178 magazines, from sports to paranormal to rock and roll. And I saw this as an opportunity to get some cool information out there. My family takes CBD products for medicinal reasons. And this is cool. I mean, not like a stoner publication. This is more news, health. But it's a big deal for Texas to be able to grow hemp. I mean, we are the number 1 agricultural state. And so that is going to mean some big dollars in the economy for Texans, and to be able to grow, that hemp plant. There's a lot of avenues for business and opportunity with the new hemp market that just is now only 3 weeks old here in Texas.
Well, the division between the two is what the spark is, what everybody's trying to discuss. Most of your conservative states obviously don't want marijuana in their states. However, they do see the plus side to the marijuana product that can actually help people that are sick. Their glaucoma, joint issues, any type of thing like that. And now that you can grow this product without after actually having the THC in it. I mean, that's the trick. And when you get somebody like Governor Abbott or somebody like that's behind this product, that's all for this type of stuff being grown in Texas, that tells you the importance of this product.
Yeah, and I think like I said, I have family. My mother has fibromyalgia. My girlfriend has lupus. A lot of people need this. So it's a good thing for all of the CBD. We've all seen the CBD stores popping up left and right. And so there's CBD just everywhere in recent years. And so this is something here. We'll maybe do a show more on this down the road. I think as the hemp publication gets kind of going a little more, we may have some guests even on the program talking about that kind of stuff. So I'm starting to meet a lot of people.
2 more cents in there.
Sure.
I don't want to go political with this thing, but what a lot of people don't understand is part of the argument about the wall being built along the border that's fought between everybody all the time is the drug population that's coming across, the drug runners that are pushing these big heavy narcotics across there. And one of the biggest products, obviously, which has been for years and years, is marijuana. Mm-hmm. And if you can get, a lot of the people that are here stateside, they are actually starting to realize the positivity that they're getting from hemp, and they're pushing away from needing the marijuana. I mean, if you can carry it in your car legally and drive to work with it and those type of things, and you can put it in oil, why wouldn't you want to go that route with it? And when you start looking at it from that process or that thought process, what ends up happening is it doesn't take long, and you start snubbing out a lot of those drug runners that are coming across the border, and you start putting a lot of those guys out of business down there with a legal product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I think also, and I've been talking, I got one of the reporters that I've got, Stacy's working on a story that I have that begs the question: will the state of Texas legalize marijuana in a post-COVID-19 world? Tax revenues are down. There's been no hotel taxes. We lost a lot of revenue, in a lot of these festivals. The sports revenue in Texas is billions of dollars a year in annual sports revenue. You and I know that, being in sports as well. But I have Stacy working on a story that's making the case: will the Texas legislature push through the legalization of marijuana in order to benefit from the millions and billions of dollars in tax revenue? Taxes are down in the state of Texas as of the last few months. And so I think, and I heard, by the way, from a little bird whispered in my ear that one local state representative told another one of my advertising clients today, and from Houston, in that district, I heard that is true. And just because I mentioned this, that we were working on that story, he said, well, I'm best friends with my representative in the area here in Humboldt County, or wherever it was over there near Humboldt. And he said that Russell, you can take that to the bank. He said that they are going to push that through next January for a quicker, more quicker than they probably planned. DPS regulates the marijuana industry in Texas, and I was on the phone with a marijuana dispensary, the only one around Central Texas, they don't get to advertise on a lot of things. And they were explaining to me that since our regulatory commission is DPS, we can't really advertise with a lot of things, Russell. We can't advertise online. We can't advertise on the radio. We can't advertise on TV. And I said, well, gosh, doesn't that make this to publication your new best friend?
Right.
Because they can't, they don't have anywhere else to advertise. But I'm anxious to see what that story looks like Friday with our twist on, you know, the tax revenue being down because of the COVID-19 and how the opportunity to legalize marijuana may end up being a benefit. And that crosses back over to what you were saying about the border and legalizing the plant, regulating it, making it, you know, it's not as harmful as tobacco, you know, yet you can buy a pack of cigarettes when you're 18. And I firmly believe that, you know, that's a lot more, not as bad of a, you know, as the cigarettes are. So, so we'll see how that goes, and hopefully that'll turn into some positive.
Well, you know, I grew up conservative, and I'm not you know, I'm not a big believer in marijuana. I'm somebody that, you know, if you could get rid of all of it, I would. I'm not. That's who I am. But at the same time, I'm not going to say that other people shouldn't have it. I'm not going to say that the tax revenue wouldn't be big. I'm not going to say any of that thing, because 100% is coming across that border no matter what. And so we can benefit from it with the tax stream.
A lot of it's coming over from Colorado and California now.
Now it is, correct.
Yeah, nobody's smoking that Reggie anymore.
They're not, but they're not getting it in.
I'm not smoking Reggie. I'm not smoking anything, quite frankly, guys. But I did try some CBD the other day, and it looks just like the stuff, the real stuff. Right. And I smoked some of it, and it was just regular. It was like it didn't have any high effect at all. It wasn't like, you know, it tasted a lot like it, but it didn't make me feel anything. Maybe a little mellow, but not like, I mean, zonkers or anything. It was, I still had it together. But anyway, we'll see how all of that turns out. I know I'm more liberal on that topic than you probably are, I imagine.
I am, but again, I don't frown on people for it. That's the biggest thing. Man, I stay my own. You know, that's I got my business to attend to, not other people's.
Well, let's. You have another topic. I want to share a flashback moment. Last week we did the Investigation X,
right?
And this is a shorter clip than that one, I think, right here. But
it was a great video though, because I had a lot of people that commented on it.
On the Investigation X documentary that wasn't. That would have been a cool.
Yeah, with Mothman. Yeah,
our Mothman deal. That would have been a really cool show. But I call it the paranormal show that wasn't. It's what exactly. I call that.
Exactly.
So anyway, we are going to do a quick clip of the Way Out There show and see what you guys think of this. This is the Way Out There from 1990. Oh gosh, 9 or so.
Washington D.C.
The Way Out There, way back.
Way back, Way Out There. Check this out, guys. We'll be right back.
Joining us now, UFOologist and creator of one of the web's premier sources for UFO info from SetLab. Here's Russell Dowden. Hey, thanks for coming by and visiting us, Russell.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Russell, tell us a little bit about what is SetLab.
Well, SetLab is an acronym for Studies of Extraterrestrial Life and Answers from Beyond. Kind of a mouthful, I know, but it's it really defines what we are and what encompasses a lot of our studies.
Where are you guys located?
Set Lab's based out of the Rio Grande Valley in deep South Texas. That's just north of the Mexican border, right there near Brownsville, McAllen.
Russell, it's basically it's you and a friend of yours, Sonny, who run this. But I heard it's a bigger web of people who are all involved in Set Lab.
Yeah, my partner Sonny Solis and I, we, came up with this concept to have an organization. We started this in 1997. But there's others involved. We've got some people who write with us and submit articles for the website and contribute.
So you have a webpage.
Yeah, it's www.setlab.org.
And this is where people probably write into you when they have a report or a sighting.
Yeah, what we've done is created basically an online report form. It's an online sighting form that you can go to. If you've had some kind of an unusual encounter or you've experienced some kind of a sighting, then take time to fill it out because it's really long and lengthy and it's really cool.
That's very interesting, Russell. Warnock, what do you say we?
Well, we absolutely have to know how to report a UFO correctly if we happen to see one flying through the air. So I happen to have a UFO right here. Lights up. I'm going to go toss it around outside, report what we saw the correct way.
Cool.
I'll do it the wrong way. Folks, here we are outside the studios of Way Out There with Russell Dowden from Set Lab, Warnock, and I. We're looking up the night sky in hopes of catching an errant UFO flying over our heads. Let's look up and see what we might catch. Oh my God! Russell, did you see that? Russell, did you see a UFO?
There was a UFO right there.
Warnock, did you see
I saw it, I think.
All right, we saw a UFO, folks. Let's see if it returns our way. It's coming right. It's coming right. Oh my! Warnock, where are you going?
All right, there's our Way Out There bit.
That was way the hell up.
That is way out there. Yeah, that was a fun bit that was done back in, I don't know, 1999, somewhere around there. Way Out There, certainly. That was just fun to go back and look at that. That was the Tonight Show of Paranormal that wasn't.
It's kind of funny.
It's not a shock that all the shows I was involved in that weren't.
When I look at something like that, it's interesting because those guys probably when you sat down and did that, you never knew it was going to be cut up that way.
Yeah, they chop it up because they always screw you in post. I say it over and over in television. They always get you in post production, man. That's when they make you, they mock you and make you look kind of goofy and all that. But this show was cool at the time. American Ingenuity put this together. That's Jeff Grimshaw up in Baltimore. They did a lot of things. They had I was just the UFO reporting segment of that show, James, and the show had a real Elvis at my wedding. They had a great ghost tour on a ghost hunt from Drew University. On that segment there, we actually went on to go through here and we actually just report that same sighting. That was the simulation of the sighting, the football. And then they report. We go into the back inside and we go to the Set Lab website and we report the sighting. And that was part of what that was all about. But
so let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of people don't understand. So there's nowadays you got so much social media. Back then you didn't have as much social media, but nowadays
there was none when this was being filmed. Yeah.
Well, now you have, Facebook and everything else. You can go on and you can post something, but there's so many of them now. Which would be the one to go to if you saw something that you wanted to report?
Well, the big one, is the National UFO Reporting Center. But Peter Davenport in Seattle actually runs the the National UFO report in UFOC is where you would go if you wanted to be on there and to report actual sighting, and they get sightings every day.
So you got one for UFOs, and then I'm going to assume there's one for Bigfoots. There's one. I'm going to assume there's one for chupacabras.
I don't know. Is there a national one for reporting Bigfoot?
I'm confident there is.
Yeah, there's got to be a national Sasquatch hotline, right?
I'm gonna believe there is. I would like to prank call them one time.
Yeah, let's do some prank calling over here on the Weird Show. Hey, let's call some people. Let's order a pizza. See, here we're reporting. Here, look here. Check this out. They're reporting. We're reporting a show.
I say Warnock hysterically ran away from the football. Area and location, Warnock. What do you say?
I'd say we're fairly rural, sort of suburban, moderately industrial.
Slightly residential.
It doesn't have undisclosed on here.
Yeah.
Terrain. Fields, yeah.
Fields. UFO direction.
We're seen in.
What would going west?
It was, it was coming from the west and then went to the east, right?
We're seen in the west.
Overhead.
Then in the east. From our
It's kind of like this.
Yeah, well, it went overhead. So, yeah.
So from our perspective, I would say it's about a quarter of the
It was like an arc, like a rainbow over the horizon.
Like a bomb. A post pattern.
Yeah, right. Correct. How many other witnesses? There were 3 of us.
3 of us there.
A light, yes. Number of lights, 1 light. Internal.
Orange.
Sound, smell, speed.
None.
Did it leave a trail?
Does it leave a residue?
Yeah.
Anyway, this is just us reporting on that sighting that was the simulated the football.
I'm submitting it right now.
So anyway, this was a lot of fun, but another show that didn't get on the. Is there a Bigfoot reporting?
BFRO.
BFR.
Yeah, the Bigfoot Research Organization is what it is. It's we actually talked about that here recently. It's
really
Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. That's what it is.
Well, maybe we should look that up. I don't know.
Yeah, BFRO, and of course it has the Patterson film on there, and the hoax.
Oh yeah,
it's got all that information on there. But if you see anything like that, you can turn it in, and then let me see.
BFRO.
BFRO.
Here, let's go over here to our weirdshow.tv page and then look up Bigfoot Research or
Bigfoot's Field Reporting Organization.
.org.com.
You got me there.
Probably org, I imagine.
I'm going to say they're probably making money off of it.
Okay.
Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization is BFRO.net.
Oh, God. I've ended up in a porno world.
I see that.
Porn ads over and over. No, they weren't porn, but just they were just getting me crazy there. Okay, so the Bigfoot Field Research Organization.
Maybe they use .net because that's how they catch them, is with a net.
With a big net. Hey, I mentioned it, by the way, last week to Timothy Green Beckley, Mr. UFO, that Bigfoot was just blurry.
He's just blurry.
He's just blurry. He's a blurry guy. So here's where you report your Bigfoot sighting at BFRO.net. So yeah, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, there they go. They go into the BFRO.
And if you want to report any other kind of monsters, ghosts, or anything like that, there's a liveabout.com. Liveabout.com. That's looks like where you turn in.
Don't make me go somewhere bad.
Yeah, I don't plan on it.
I don't plan on it either. What is this? It?
And this one is Debbie. No, this
DebbieDust.com.
Bigfoot.
No, this isn't where we're supposed to be.
Yeah,
What do you-
liveabout.com. Yeah, that's it says that's where you're supposed to go to turn in.
Who was the ghost of the Hollywood sign? Oh, there's a ghost of the Hollywood sign.
Yeah, there actually is. And so it's funny because a lot of these stories, I know a lot of them. Again, we do a lot of traveling, so we see a lot of this stuff.
Mhm.
Fredericksburg is full of stuff. Jefferson, the city of Jefferson up in East Texas is amazing.
Really?
They have the Excelsior House there. That's incredible. Alamo, the Alamo is incredible. You can stay at the La Bahia in Goliad. You can actually stay the night there. They have a room you can sleep in.
Really?
And they say when you have like electric storms coming in like that, any kind of good lightning storms, that you can actually hear gunfire and cannons firing early in the morning at 3 to 3:30 in the morning, and you can actually hear the battlefield being done out there.
Oh wow. Yeah, when we were young, my brother and I went to the Alamo when we were young. And what happened was my brother was jumping over one of these little, there was like a little low hanging wire that just blocks. It's supposed to keep you off the grass. And when you're a 10-year-old kid, you just jump over that thing thinking you can go anywhere you want. Well, anyway, my brother fell and onto this thing and cut a big gash into his thigh. And so they had to take my brother into the Alamo in a secret area, and they put him, James, in this part of the Alamo where I guess Bowie was at, where they had killed him. And he went in because the medical area in the Alamo for a first aid treatment was in one of these back little rooms. And we went in there and they had to bandage my brother's leg up, and he had to, it was a pretty good gash. They had to bandage it up. And then, when we left there and went back out to view the rest of the front of the Alamo and the tour and all of that, Dad turned to my brother and said, "See, now you've been wounded at the Alamo."
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Did they take him in a basement?
It wasn't a basement we went to. It was
I know. Only Pee Wee Herman's been in a basement.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. There's the basement in the Alamo. That's right.
There's no basement in the Alamo. Yeah, we've been in many different places across the United States, and we've been to Gettysburg, which is some of the most sacred grounds in the world. I mean, it's 500,000 plus people died there. You have, we've been to the Hermitage in Nashville, and you name it, man. We've been to so many different places. And in fact, one of the most interesting places where you feel energy when I went to was, we went to the Oregon Trail. The Oregon Trail is still there. The ground is petrified. There was over 13,000 wagons that traveled the Oregon Trail, and in that particular area, the wagon wheel trail is still there, and you can look left to right for as far as you can see, and that trail is still there, and the markers are still there. And the surveys are still there.
Where is that? It's in Oregon?
It goes from Oregon, goes across Wyoming.
That's part of the Clark, something in Clark.
The Lois and Clark.
Lois and Clark Trail, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been up to the Montana side and Wyoming part of that trail. From my father used to live there in Montana, so I've been to that.
It's amazing because so many people died on that trail, which I assume you probably died a few times on it when you was young on that trail. when we used to play the Oregon Trail on the computer at school.
The Oregon Trail on the computer?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No, I was playing Galaga.
Y'all comment on here if y'all played the Oregon Trail when y'all was young in school.
I played Frogger and Galaga. And, oh, I remember like Defender.
We played it in computer class.
Joust.
You know, the computer was as big as this table back then.
Yeah.
You don't remember getting dysentery?
No.
Everybody got dysentery on that, and you would die.
No, I didn't get dysentery. I got dismissed a lot. That's what happened to me. I got in trouble, man. I was in ISS half the damn time. It's the Weird Show. We're wrapping things up. This is the Weird Wednesday one. And thanks for tuning in to our little flashback show. James had some Deja Vu, some ghosts. We had a little bit of hemp news and talked a little paranormal and how to report a UFO sighting on a Set Lab website from 1999 Netscape browser. But we're sorry we had to do this to you guys, but that's the Weird Show for you. And you get to see glimpses of my television career that wasn't. Both last Wednesday and this Wednesday. I assure you there's not much more of those clips, guys, unless you find some old shows on public access that are laying around out there. I don't know. All right, well, tune in Sunday. We'll have more Weird Show, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Check you later.
The Reaper, he's a calling, and the streets run red with blood. The ghost of every past mistake defines all that you feel. And life is just an illusion, and your dreams are all that's real. Living in a nightmare of reoccurring themes. On a scary road where not a thing is what it seems. Down the haunted highway fade the echoes of your screams, fading from a world of gothic dreams, fading from this world of gothic dreams, this bleak and twisted world of gothic dreams.